So for us to explain exactly where we are with the Shinju, we have to completely explain where the Shinju themselves come from. So now with the Otsutsuki, we know that they are these interdimensional traveling beings in which they bring these seeds in order to sap the life force of every living thing on the planet. And that tree or that seed produces this tree that produces a fruit that's able to increase their potential or increase their abilities or their power by consuming that fruit, in which they need not only the life force of everything on that planet, we also need the life force of Otsutsuki themselves to essentially create this fruit. So now, with the life force of the planet, we know that chakra is pretty much the byproduct of this tree. It's called the chakra fruit. So chakra is the byproduct, or having a massive amount of chakra is the byproduct of eating the fruit. So for you to even have chakra, you need to be able to mix your stamina and your mental energy in order to form chakra. And so when your stamina runs low, you typically experience fatigue. Thus, your mental energy runs low as well. Thus, you're not able to use chakra past the reserve that you currently have. So now, with the tree itself, when it wraps someone in there, it actually converts their stamina and all of their mental energy into chakra in of itself. That's why you have the infinite Tsukiyomi as one of the states of them being in there. It's them literally getting their mental energy and stamina drained. And so as a result of them getting that stamina drained, if it happens over a long course of time, those people who get attached to the God tree as a source of energy, they themselves then become what is known as quote unquote white Zetsu, or Zetsus in themselves, just basically individual personalities being brought by that mental energy being attached to the tree. However, we never knew exactly if it had. We know they have a hive mind. However, we don't know if the personalities differ from Zetsu to Zetsu. We know black Zetsu and white Zetsu. Well, white Zetsu is a byproduct of the tree, while black Zetsu is a byproduct of, let's say, Kaguya's chakra, for a lack of an explanation. So now, with white Zetsu, we get a hive mind mentality, just basically showing that they still have that one connection to the tree in of itself. We know once Kaguya pretty much consumed the fruit and sealed the 10-tailed beast, because the 10-tailed beast didn't come about until after the chakra fruit was eaten by the wrong Otsutsuki, which it then began to rampage. So once she sealed it, she had initially been overridden by the 10 tails itself mental strength, because we know the tail beasts are just a mass of the chakra of the 10 tails being divided off. However, you also have the natural energy of that being itself taken into account. So the stamina and the mental energy of the 10 tails. So she was essentially taken over by the mental energy of the 10 tails, and which that is why Kaguya had the means of having all of the chakra return to its source, which is the same thing of the divine tree, of it taking everyone stamina and mental energy to create chakra at this one center point. And so now, when the Ten Tails itself, or the Shinju, we're gonna call it the Shinju from now on in this point in the video. So when the Shinju itself rampages, it becomes this being in which it has the exact same goal I stated before, which is to consume every bit of chakra, or every portion of itself, of that chakra that originated from itself, back into itself, so that way it could produce the fruit. That was just one goal. So now when we have the Shinju that we have now, this Shinju is a byproduct of genetic mutation, and we're going to get into that. So now we know, um, when people pretty much have like blood transfusion, you pretty much have to have the exact same blood type of that person for them to be able to replace that blood. But when it's not something of that same blood, it's pretty much a failure. We also know that when blood get introduced into a different organism, let's say for example, if someone have we're gonna take it to an extreme here. If someone has an STD, for lack of a better analogy, that their blood can get into your wound, in which it can cause your blood to be corrupted by what is in their blood. So now we have code. When code essentially, well, let's go before that. The Shinju himself is able to make individual copies of himself, and that copy in that moment looks just like the Ten Tails. It's not a copy of the human themselves, which produced the White Zetsu. Is just a copy itself of the Ten Tails produced by the Ten Tails to collect the chakra to return to the Ten Tails. So just splitting its consciousness off into different portions. So now with Code essentially divided up the Ten Tails and yes, pretty much sanctioned off his chakra into individual part, just like the Shinju was able to do for itself. And so, however, the other factor that's put into this equation that's not often talked about is that Cole also has to mix his blood into it as well. So with all this chakra being converted or split up, you have the aspect of the Shinju being different clones. They're not perfect clones of one another. Each one looks different. So when you take into the account how chakra works with humans, or the mental and stamina, or the chakra works with humans, each one, as shown with the war when Naruto was connected with everyone, Naruto was able to match up his chakra with every individual unique way of having chakra in order to allow them to use Kurama Link mode. So now, with this, Code essentially made these imperfect clones with these different amount of chakra, essentially making a new being of the Ten Tails. And so as that chakra is getting sanctioned off from this guy who has almost quantifiable amounts of chakra, then at that point he's able to he's able to actually produce different amounts of chakra for the Ten Tails at random. So none of them is just basically perfect clones of themselves. And so his blood comes to effect because now they're all able to produce the claw grimes. That's not ability used from his chakra, it's actually ability used from the blood provided from him, because we know that for them to transfer the karma, Jigen himself had to pretty much input his code into you. You can usually say that genetic code could be represented by blood, by the black liquid that was pushed down into those little tubes that the children was in, that Kawaki was in as well, in order to transfer that DNA over to that person. So now, Code transferring his DNA allowed these people to have their abilities, and then the Ten Tails itself having access to blood of, let's say, a lower entity, and also being starved, and also having the time to have an existence long enough to produce cognitive thought, is why we have these individualized Ten Tails. It's an amalgamation of Code's blood, it being not being at the amount of chakra that it usually had, because when it was just this mass lump of chakra, it only had one goal to complete in order to actually produce in order to produce the chakra fruit itself. But now there's these individual pieces. Now they're starting to gain their own sentience by actually being able to question things like existence itself, and actually more, not necessarily existence, but more of their purpose in of itself. And so when you have that kind of time to think, then you have that time to become an individual rather than just having this one hive mind. So thanks to Cole infusing his blood, you allow these lower form Shinju to be formed. Now, when the Shinju themselves, when the divine tree itself absorbs the stamina and mental energy of a human, it records that data into his chakra. So everything on that planet, or ever has existed on that planet through its chakra, because everyone's linked through mental energy through his chakra, then it is actually put into that divine fruit, or that God fruit, or that chakra fruit as well. So now let's get into the individual Shinju. We have the one that's based off the trash fodder old man. It seems that the old man didn't necessarily have really any techniques. However, now he has this just physical boost, and he's able to transmogrify his body and produce a mouth out of his arm instead of him just actually popping in jutsu. We have one that looks like Moegi. People's calling her the Harley Quinn Shinju. She's able to use Earth Style, and that's a jutsu we actually seen. I said this in the other Boruto video I dropped recently as well, that she's using a jutsu reminiscent of Moegi as well. And so both of these Shinjus are using jutsus of people that essentially made contact with through chakra. So I said in one of the videos that I believe that the guy who's floating in the sky, he's probably the tag team partner of Shibai Otsutsuki. He's the only Otsutsuki who doesn't look like anyone we've seen. He doesn't look like Jigen. He doesn't look like Momoshiki. He doesn't look like Kaguya. So it'd be best to assume that he's probably the guy that came with Shibai to cultivate the tree, because we know they found Shibai corpse here, or not necessarily his corpse, but his vessel for this current plane before he ascended to a higher plane. We know Momoshiki confirmed that Shibai ascended to a higher plane. So if this person is the DNA of Momoshiki's, let's say, lesser Otsutsuki partner, then at that point we have a real monster on our hands, in which then we have someone who's comparable to, or at least the DNA of someone who's comparable to this, to Shibai in this Shinju in of itself. So anyway, that's pretty much all we got for the Shinju explained video. We know wait, I forgot Sasuke. He made himself a sword and he did lightning style. There we go. They pretty much is able to use anything that the person that they absorb into the tree or made contact with that tree jutsu as well. Pretty much saying that person is that person, that Shinju holds the DNA of that person, has a similar personality to that person as well, because we know the personality also shapes what kind of chakra you have. So people who have like weak mental aptitude is not able to mold chakra as well as people who has a stronger mental aptitude. But anyway, yeah, that's really all I got for this video. I wasn't expecting it to go on this long. Anyway, let me know what you guys think down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. It's been your boy Wolf Nara, and I'm out.
Who really a factor? I done grew up as a bastard, stepped out the wound into a disaster. Designing drugs and guns on my city after, pray for the lackers. Cause it only get worse and they try to blame it on the rappers. Label was factors. My rappy told me sign an affidavit like my life and my family ain't matter. Do you know how I feel to get served to the court on the plaque?